Hi everyone, today is April 6, 2019, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger, and this week in the Duel World, there's no PvE events really going on. The Sartorius event just wrapped up, so we got that new character. This week has all been about the Kaiba Cup starting, so Kaiba Cup going on through half of April or so, and that's more of a PvP event. It's all PvP event, actually. We're going to get Epic Yugi soon, but this week we're talking mostly about Six Samurais. They came out with a new box. It came out late last week, or early this week. I don't remember exactly, but they are the new hot topic. So we're going to go over the remaining archetypes. Last time we went over the URs and SRs of the Warriors Unite box. We're going to go over the archetypes now. Not now, but later in the show. And, Six Sams are really they're going to be the hot meta deck. We're going to see if they take over the Kaiba Cup. And, of course, their lasting value. It's pretty clear that they're pretty good right now. But when will Konami, take action? We don't know. And they might be the deck persist moving forward. We also have Doug's Casual Deck of the Week. He discusses tunes, so if you really liked playing tunes, check out his deck of the week later on in the show. This week, I'm going to talk about my week in the Duel World. Last month, I finished off in Legend 3. I think I got to 100 ranked wins, and then I decided to play a few more games. I got to Legend 3, and it was within the last 2 hours left, and I lost the game, and then I'm going to go to sleep instead, so that was it. I could have hit King of Games with that Psychic Synchro deck, but it didn't really matter to me. I guess the gems would have paid off, the extra gems I got from getting King of Games, but I didn't. And in the KC Cup, I started off at DL level 10, of course, and I'm only at 13 now. I've just been playing. I haven't been playing too much, but I played enough to get the rewards, the stamp rewards, I think they're called. And I'm okay with going slow this first stage. I should be able to hit, DL level 20 soon. And there's no problem with me going slow with it. I get to maximize my ranked wins, extend that, and because knowing next weekend I'm not going to have too much time to play at all because I'll be working at an event. So getting in my ranked wins now, and then instead of having to cram later, that would be great. I'm still playing Psychic Synchros, but there is one big change. I've been buying the Warriors Unite box because I'm trying to build Six Samurais. And I got a Stardust Charge Warrior, which fits in well with the level 6s in my Synchro deck. Of course, the Psychic Synchro deck uses a lot of 3, so there's a Psychic Tracker, the Serene Witch, and then the Psychic Wheel Dealer. And they all turn into 6s. So I still have the Psychic Nightmare, but I took out the Powered Zectron in lieu of Stardust Charge Warrior, and it's been pretty good, actually. It's a pretty good card. Overall, I'm still trying to play 6 Sams, but I only have 1 Kizin, and Kizin is a card that you definitely want 3 of in your 6 Sams deck. So, I'm mostly through the second box, but the second box is not giving me my Kizin. And once I get that card, I get to reset. Even with 2 Kizins, I might just try to play like a very budget version of 6 Sams. All you need is that 1 card, so I might switch over to 6 Sams soon, because that's a deck I really want to play. So in esports this week, Duel Links Meta Weekly 66. This happened on April 2nd, and of course, talking about 6 Sams, that's what most people brought in this tournament. And in the top 32, 19 out of 32 were 6 Samurais. So they're a really good deck. And the cool thing about them is that there's a lot of ways to build it because they have so many tools. There's different ways to play it, and of course each deck itself is a bit different. First place, Neg Do Zap, tie that binds 6 Samurais. So this is one way to do it. This has some of the core cards, which I'll list right now. So 3 legendary 6 Samurai Kizin. That's the card I mentioned that is the chase card of the box. 3 Six Samurai, Secret Six Samurai Fuma. This is just the R card, but this is the tuner of the deck. This is the only tuner you would need in the deck, and it works really well. 3 Six Samurai United. So this is just an SR, which you should get when you're trying to look for your Kizens. It's a continuous spell. And 3 Shen's Dojo, which is a card that is a reprint card. It came from Primal Burst first, so this is just the N, so you should have 3 of these quite available. This deck also has 3 Duel Wield, so 6 style Duel Wield is an SR from this box, and I think I only have 2 of these, but this additionally has an SR in this box. You should get it just looking for your Kizens. This deck also runs other cards: 2 Legendary Six Samurai Anishi, 1 Secret Six Samurai Kizaru, and 2 Cunning of the Six Samurai. It's notable that some of these cards, notably Kizaru and Cunning, are from the Crusaders Battleground box. So, you had to put some investment in those previous decks, those boxes, just to get some of these cards. And of course, the synchro deck of this, 2 Shi-En. Shi-En is the boss monster of the Six Samurais. That's what makes it work. Armadides, Gigantic Castle, and also the Contact Fusion card, Secret Six Samurai Rehand. It's just an extra option. Second place, Who Dare wins. Ancient Gears, and they noted here that he got disqualified. So he didn't get to play Negdu Zap, but he got disqualified. I don't know how. This is just a basic Ancient Gears deck. There is a Bad Aim. That's a card That's a card we've seen more and more, and it's the first time I think I'm seeing it in Ancient Gears. But otherwise, a very typical Ancient Gears deck. Third place, Mordecai. Parasite Amazoness. Parasite Amazoness is making a comeback, and this deck is super annoying. I hate it. This one's a little better because it doesn't run Lava Golem, because I hate those even more. So, just a lot of trap cards, Gravity Lashes, DD Assailant, that's different, I guess. And third place, Shifu, Tie That Binds, Six Sams. It's the same deck as the first one from Negdu Zap, but doesn't have Cunning of the Six Samurai as Grandmaster of the Six Samurai. That's a UR from the Crusaders Battleground box. And it also runs Treacherous Trap Hole. And it has no Contact Fusion, but it does have a 6-star Synchro Summon Gaia Knight, the Force of Earth. This is a card I've even seen in PvP in the KC Cup games, and this, I did call it. I think this card, you see a Synchro Monster with no, it's a normal Synchro Monster, no abilities. You think it sucks, but it is the best attacker of the level 6s, and these decks do use Tie That Bind, so every point does count sometimes. This does get over Shi-En by 100 attacks, so it is a useful card. You could put it in your Six Samurai deck. I could put it in my Psychic Synchro deck too. It's just level 6, maybe. Another tournament that happened in the Duel Links meta community is the giveaway tournament 10. First place, King Swag Bodhi. He brought 2 decks, Parasite Amazoness and Ancient Gears. The Parasite Amazoness is interesting in that they bring back Kinetic Soldier. This is a card that we see on and off, but it is good because Six Samurais are all warriors, so it gains 2,000 attack and defense when it fights a warrior, so that's a lot of damage. Ancient Gear deck is pretty typical as well. None of those quick play Cyclone cards, though. It's just 3 Galaxy Cyclones and 2 Breakers. Second place, Ignited Sperm. Parasite, Amazoness, and Tie That Binds, Six Samurais. This Parasite Amazoness is interesting. They run Lava Golems, and they also run 2 Mithra. Mithra is a card we haven't really seen. It was supposed to work for UAs. I think that was the goal. But this puts an extra token on your opponent's board, so you could use your Lava Golem on them. And the Tie That Binds Six Samurai deck, this one runs 3 Anishi. Anishi is a card you see in some decks, but you typically don't even see 3 of them, and this one does have 3. It is a late game type card. It's got some control abilities. I'm going to talk more about the R's and N's later, but this is a pretty good card too. Third place, Nyx. Tie That Binds, 6 Samurais, and Survival's End Dinosaurs. This 6 Samurai deck has a Seer Karibo, Econ. There are ways to put these generally good cards in the deck. You don't have to make it completely 6 Samurai deck. And Survival's End Dinosaurs, nothing new here. It's typically what we've seen in the past meta, I guess what you call it. Monkey Boy 3rd place, Monkey Boy 44, Tie That Binds, 6 Samurais, and Kaiba Corp Bling, Kawaki Meiru. This 6 Samurai deck runs 3 Sphere Karibos. That's interesting. Kawaki Meiru deck has a lot of cards. Let's see. The monster composition is about the same as you see. No Rook Lords, no Prototypes, 3 Cosmic Cyclones, 2 Fire Formation Gyaku. So that's a lot of back row disruption here. So interesting deck for Kawaki Meirus. There were no tier list updates from Duel Links meta this week. I think they're trying to figure out where 6 Samurai stand. They might just be the deck that gets promoted to tier 1. But they have to, I think they're waiting for it to win the Kaiba Cup first, so we're going to see where that goes. Now I'm going to go over the Archetype for the Warriors Unite box, and this is pretty much my R and N review. I talked about the SRs and URs, of course, last time. And, of course, as I've mentioned a million times already, 6 Samurais are the archetype to buy if you're interested in this box. I think there is definitely value in it. I'm attaching a link here by Emma Valentine of Duel Links Meta. So this article is on Duel Links Meta, and I must say, this is probably the best thing I've ever read on this website. And she goes over, every single card in 6 Samurais. So there's a lot of cards. They've been released in, 3 different sets, if I'm not mistaken. Blades of the Spirits is the first one, Crusaders Battlegrounds, and then this one. And there's just so much about it here. There's a lot about synergies, there's decks, there's skills. This goes over everything you need to know. And even if you don't intend on playing 6 Samurais, you read this guide and you'll know how to counter them. There's just so much information, and I highly recommend it. It's attached in the link. So it's like the 6 Samurai Complete Guide. I definitely read through. I didn't read all of it, obviously. I have, reading comprehension things, but it's pretty cool. You get to see the different ways to build the deck. So definitely check it out. So I'm going to talk about the R's and N's of 6 Samurais now. And I'm not going to talk about every single card because there's too many of them. I'll just gloss over some of them, but I'll point out the ones that are notable. So Legendary 6 Samurai Anishi is a 4-star warrior, 1700, 700. Once per turn, you can banish 2 6 Samurais from your graveyard, target 1 face-up monster on the field, return that target to the hand. You must control another 6 Samurai to resolve this effect. When you control 2 or more face-up 6 Samurais, except for Anishi, this card gains 500 attack and defense. So this is one of the ones we've seen play in competitive deck lists. It's got 1700, which 6 Samurais are typically 16 to 19, most of the 4 stars. So it's on the lower half, but it could gain 500 attack and defense, and it has a control ability to basically remove a monster. I don't think the 6 Samurais, they do some resurrection, but not every deck does, so those are basically free removals for you. Overall, this card is a really good package. They have countless monsters, so this is one way. This is definitely one of the better ones. 6 Samurai Kageki, 3-star, 200, 2000 defense. When this card is normal summon, special summon 1 level 4 or lower 6 Samurai monster from your hand. While you control a 6 Samurai monster with a different name, this card gains 1500 attack. So this is kind of the opener. You play this card, you get one from your hand, and then you could special summon a third one, and then you could make your synchro play. So this is really core. This is the one that gets it started. It's the one you want in your opening hand, and it'll become 1700, 2000, which isn't. It competes with the Anishi we just saw. So this is considered one of the core cards of 6 Samurai, I think. Next one is Legendary 6 Samurai Mizuho. Level 3, 1600, 1000. If you control Legendary 6 Samurai Shinai, you can special summon this from your hand. Once per turn, you contribute another face-up 6 Samurai, target one card in the field, destroy that target. So this card has a partner, and the partner is an N, which is Legendary 6 Samurai Shinai, level 3, 1500, 1500. If you control 6 Samurai Mizuho, special summon this from your hand. If this card in the field is tributed, target 1 6 Samurai monster in your graveyard except for Shinai added to your hand. So basically what happens is you have these two cards that work as a pair out on the field. You use Mizuho to sacrifice Shinai. You destroy a card thanks to Mizuho's effect, and you get to get a card back from your graveyard. So there's immediate synergy here. And it's a control version of the deck. You would just have these two monsters in it, and then just keep bringing back Shinai, and then you could just use Mizuho to destroy stuff in slower control version of the deck. Elder of the 6 Samurai is not really worth talking about, but it's a free special summon when your opponent has a monster. They do it. It's a card you want to use as synchro material since it's a level 3 400 0. Ultimately, there are better options, so this is not one of the cards that are notable. This one is notable. Secret 6 Samurai Fuma, level 1 warrior tuner, 200 attack, 1800 defense. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 6 Samurai monster from your deck except for Fuma. If exactly 1 6 Samurai monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this from your graveyard instead. So this is a 1-star tuner. It works with the level 4s. You could just get special summon this guy out with any of the cards that special summon, like Higeki, for example. And then you mix it with a level 4, and you got your level 5 Shin. And this card gets destroyed. You could tutor you could bring any card out from your deck, so you could pick any of your 6 Samurais. And it protects them with that extra ability, where you could banish this from the graveyard after it's been destroyed, or used as the tuner synchro material. So this is the only tuner you need for 6 Samurais, unless you're playing like a 2+3 version of the deck with no 4 stars, then you might consider running something else. But most of the good 6 Samurais are 4-star monsters, so this 1+4 works really well. Definitely a card you want 3 of in the deck. This is a card we've seen some asceticism of the 6 Samurais, a quick play spell. Target 1 6 Samurai monster you control, special summon 1 6 Samurai from your deck with the same attack, but a different name if you do destroy it during the end phase of this turn. So most of them are 1600 to 1900, and a lot of them have the same attack, so typically you would use this to mix and match. Use them as a fusion material, or use them as your ability. It's a quick play, so there's a lot you could do with this card. Double-Edged Sword Technique Trap card. Target 2 6 Samurais in your graveyard. Special summon those targets in attack position. During the end phase, destroy them if you do take damage equal to the destroyed monster's attack. So if you don't get rid of those monsters, you're going to die, pretty much. It's recycle. You could use... So Mizuho and Hand of the 6 Samurai, lore-wise, are the same person, just in different phases of their life. And what they do is they contribute themselves. They say tribute a 6 Samurai monster. It could even include themselves. So you could use this in the control style, Mizuho, Shinai, and Hand of the 6 Samurai. You could just get rid of those monsters, in addition to using stuff for synchro summons. So that's probably the main point of the card. Talked about Shinai already. Kagemusha of the 6 Samurai, which shares a name with Kagemusha of the Blue Flame. 2-star warrior tuner, 400 attack, 1800 defense. During either player's turn, when exactly one face-up 6 Samurai monster you control is targeted by a spell, trap, or a monster effect that targeted, you could target this card instead. Yeah, it's basically its ability. It's a protection card. So this is a level 2 tuner. It goes well with the 3s if you want to make a 2+3 instead of a 1+4. It's less good than Fuma for sure, but it would be considered. It is protection, so it is protection. It probably gets destroyed by the effect, but at the same time, you can't Well, I guess it's good against Paleozoic Canadias and Econs where they don't get destroyed. Um, you don't really want this guy to get destroyed because you want to tune him. And unlike Fuma, you could use the Graveyard ability. This doesn't have that Graveyard ability. Another tuner, Secret 6 Samurai Genba is a level 2, 500, 2100 defense. When this card is normal summoned, target one of your banished 6 Samurai monsters added to your hand. If exactly one 6 Samurai monster you control and no other cards would be destroyed by card effect, banish this from the graveyard instead. So this has that built-in ability that Fuma has. I guess it's a little better than Kagemusha. Got 2100 defense too, so I guess this competes with Kagemusha as your 2+3 instead of the 1+4, I guess. Legendary Secret of the 6 Samurai, level 4, 500 attack, 2000 defense. When you normal or special summon a Secret 6 Samurai monster, you can special summon this from your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn, you can banish one level 4 or lower 6 Samurai monster from your graveyard until the end of this turn. This card's attribute, level, and attack and defense become the same as that banished monster's. So this is an option to cheat out. It only works for the Secret 6 Samurai, so make sure you have those. And it uses banished abilities. This is a situational card. It might not see play. It might. I'm not really sure. Xian Squire, level 1 warrior tuner, 300 attack, 700 defense. During damage calculation, if you control a 6 samurai monster, if a 6 samurai monster you control battles, send this from your hand to the graveyard. That monster cannot be destroyed by battle. This is a level 1 tuner. It's probably, it can't compete with Fuma, but it's like a Karibo, I guess. Chamberlain of the 6 Samurai is just a 200, 2000 vanilla guy. Obviously, with so many explosive plays in the deck, this is not, in consideration. It just has a 6 Samurai name if you ever need that. Swift Samurai Storm, continuous trap. Each turn, after the first time a 6 Samurai monster you control battles, all 6 Samurai monsters you control gain 300 attack until the end of this turn. So, most of the competitive decks we've seen run Tie That Binds, and a lot of them run Beatdown. So this is just, doubling up on that. And this would be a card you consider if everyone is playing Tie That Binds 6 Samurai, so you could get over those cards. Breakthrough, trap card, select one 6 Samurai monster you control. If the selected monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, Great Shogun Shen and all 6 Samurai monsters you control can attack your opponent directly during the battle phase. So, a win more card. It's not guaranteed since it's situational. It is a okay card if you have Shen out, because then you can negate. If they have one trap card, you could just negate that card, and then everyone gets to attack directly. But if you're destroying your opponent's monster anyways, they're going to attack directly anyways, right? So, I don't see his card being useful at all. Axe to the Wall, trap card. Pay life points so that you have 100 life points left. Special summon as many 6 Samurai monsters with different names from your graveyard as possible. You cannot special summon a monster with the same name as a monster you already control. So it's a little situational. It's kind of like Last Gamble or Ra paying all your life points. You could win your last turn, you could not. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this card, but I'm sure it might see play eventually. I don't know. I don't think so, though. And finally, Musakani Magatama, trap card, counter trap. When your opponent activates a spell or trap or monster effect that destroys a card, while you control 6 Samurai monster, negate the activation if you do destroy it. So this has the same ability as the Synchro monster Shi-En. It's useful if you want to double up on those abilities. Typically, you won't need to, but... And another thing about this card is it doesn't hit Paleozoic Canadia or Econ. So things that change battle position doesn't work on those. So maybe if you want to double up on that ability where you destroy, negate activation and destroy. I've said 6 Samurai way too much. It's time to move on to the other cards. The scraps, there's only 3 scrap cards. Scrap Goblin, 3-star Beast Warrior Tuner, 0 attack, 500 defense. It cannot be destroyed by battle. If this face-up defense position card is attacked, select it as an attack target, destroyed at the end of the battle phase. If it's destroyed by effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, target one scrap in your graveyard, except for Scrap Goblin, and add it to your hand. So it'll survive at least one hit that gives it some stall ability. Seems okay for the tuner. That's all there is to say about this card. Scrap Golem. Where's this guy? Level 5, Rock. 2300, 1400. Once per turn, you can select one level 4 or lower scrap monster in your graveyard special summon to either player's side of the field. So it's a way you could clog your opponent, and it might be more useful for your own synchro plays where you get to special summon another card. This is definitely a card you want to cheat out since it's just a level 5, 2300 attack. And finally, Scrap Soldier, level 5, Warrior Tuner, 2100 attack, 700 defense. Cannot be used as a synchro material except for the synchro summon of a scrap monster. If this face-up defense position is attacked, select that as an attack target destroyed at the end of the battle phase. If it's destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, target one scrap monster in your graveyard except for Scrap Soldier and add it to your hand. So it's a bigger tuner. It'll struggle to get itself on the board unless it's cheated out, of course. And I guess bigger tuners do have an advantage of ramping up to the bigger synchro plays. But this is definitely a card you want to use there's like a field spell, a scrap factory that cheated out, I think. Yeah. I guess it might be okay. Now the desk bots. Desk bots are all R's and N's. They're fast, they swarm. It's good to be a free-to-play deck. Let's talk about these cards. Desk bot 3. Level 3 machine, 500 attack, 500 defense. When it's normal summon, special summon one desk bot monster from your deck except for 3. Once per turn, during either's player turn, you can target one desk bot monster you control against 500 attack and defense for each desk bot you currently control until the end of this turn. So it's got a little ability, it's kind of like Beatdown. You could add Tie That Binds to it and they get kind of strong since they're really weak. It's good. This one's good for setting up synchro summoning or getting out number 9. So number 9 is the power play, which I'll talk about later. Yeah, you could get any desk bot from your deck, so number 9 is typically the one you want to get. Desk bot 4. This card is 500 attack and defense. If this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you can activate this effect. Your opponent takes no battle damage for the rest of this turn. Also send one desk bot from your deck to the graveyard except for number 4. If you do, this card gains attack and defense equal to the sent monster's level times 500. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, special summon 2 desk bots with different levels from your hand in or graveyard in defense mode. So this card, I'm not really high on this card. It has tricks. You could get over an opponent's monster. You could gain 1,500 or you could gain 2,000, I guess. And then you could get 2 monsters. I guess it's not that bad. I guess upon reading it, it is situational though. I guess it has to destroy that opponent's monster by battle. I guess that's with the quick ability. So I guess this card's not that bad. I guess I thought it was pretty bad, but it's not. Deskbot 1 is the only tuner. It's a machine tuner, level 1, 500, 500. It gains 500 attack and defense for each machine you control. If 2 or more machines are special summoned, while this is in the graveyard, special summon this card. So they swarm pretty well, and this one just comes out. So it's the only tuner, you have to play it. This is the synchro monster, Deskbot Jet, level 10. It has no tuning requirements, so you could use any tuners. It doesn't have to be a Deskbot, I guess. 500 attack and defense. It gains 500 attack and defense for each Deskbot on the field. You can use these effects once per turn and only once that turn. You can target one Deskbot you control, destroy it. If you do special summon a Deskbot from your deck, you can also target one Deskbot you control and one face-up card on the field and destroy them. This card won't have a ton of attack. It'll probably have 2,000 at most. It counts itself, so it starts off as a 1,000, 1,000, and 2 other ones would make it 2,000. It's a control card. I guess the second ability is a control card. The first ability is a facilitating effect. It doesn't hit face down, so it doesn't seem too good in my opinion. Deskbot 2, level 2, 500, 500. If this is special summoned, add one Deskbot from your deck to your hand. All machines gain 500 attack and defense except for this one. So this is the intermediate. You don't want it in the opening hand. You want it to get special summoned. and then you add one card from your deck to your hand. And then Despot 9 is probably the best card. Level 9, Machine, 500. Once per turn during your main phase, you can make this card gain attack equal to the combined attack of all Despot monsters you currently control except for number 9, until the end of your opponent's turn. Only this card can attack the turn this effect is activated. If this card battles, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. If this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy one Despot you control instead. So this is the power play. You make it gain a lot of attack. You protect it. It's kind of like an Ancient Gear card. Yeah, it has some protection. It's kind of like Six Samurais and Ancient Gears combined. And seeing the abilities. Next up are the Dracs, and I just looked at these cards, and I was not really impressed with any of them, really. You're probably better off playing the Survivals and Dinosaurs. Let's talk about them anyways. Drac Giganoto. I don't know why I can't pronounce that word. Level 7 Synchro. 2100, 1800. All face-up Drac monsters. You gain 200 attack for each Drac monster in your graveyard. So this comes to 2300, and that is it. Not good. Drac Meteor. This one's interesting. Level 10. 2800, 2000 requires a Drac Tuner and 2 dinosaurs. When this card is synchro summoned, destroy all cards on the field. Then you can special summon 1 tuner from your graveyard. So this costs you 3 monsters to synchro summon, for sure. And then this one gets destroyed, so it's like 4 cards, but then gets you a tuner back. This might be the one that sees play. I don't think so. But if you ever need to clear your opponent's board, this is a card that does it. Drac Velo. Level 4 Dinosaur, 1700, 1000. When this face-up position card attacks or is attacked and is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, special summon a Drac with 1700 less attack from your deck. So it's a way you could cheat out of tuner. It is a way that's more antiquated, because let's say an Ancient Gear monster attacks it and negates the effect. It won't exactly fly, so not too impressive. Drac Aeolo, level 1 tuner, 200. You contribute this card to select one level 4 or lower Drac monster in your graveyard except for Aeolo, special summon that from the graveyard. So this is a level 1 tuner, and you could basically ramp up into a bigger tuner. It's not that useful. But yeah, I think that's the play with this card. Drac Velfito. This is a level 5 tuner. Level 5 tuner with it has a question mark attack and defense. This card's attack and defense are equal to the total original attack and defense of the synchro materials. If this card attacks a face-down defense position monster, you can destroy that monster immediately with this effect, instead of flipping it up or applying damage calculation. So this is a mechanic we saw with the Heavy Knight of Flame. And that was a pretty useful ability, I think. You can negate the ability. And it's good against cards like Snowman Eater or any card that searches. So, this is a more exciting synchro monster. And it has that mysterious attack and defense, which could be okay. It's almost like Armadides. Not the worst card. Drac Monoloth, level 3 tuners, 1500, 1200. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. So if this card had more attack, that would be great. It's good against the Six Samurais, I guess, but if they have the 2500, I can't see this getting over that. Drac Dino, level 3 tuner, 1700, 800. Once during each player's end phase, if this card destroyed an opponent's monster by battle, you contribute 1 Drac monster to draw 2 cards. This would be good if you, if it destroyed the monster, so you could use Baby Ceratosaurus, but doesn't seem too useful. And Drac Galeem, level 2 tuner, 1200, 0. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, your opponent can discard 1 card to negate this effect. Otherwise, destroy that monster that destroyed this card. It's a control card. It's okay, but it doesn't really fit their strategy, I think. So overall, the Dracs aren't really good. You might as well play the Survivals and Dinosaurs if you want a competitive deck. If you want to play a Drac-themed deck, they have plenty of cards released throughout their history. Next up are the Roids, the Viacroids, I mean. And Viacroids did see play in that final game, in the finals, I mean, of the last finals of the Duel Links Championships. But that was because they had the legendary duelist requirement where you had to play a character deck, so that's why they saw some play. But these cards are more exciting. Super Viacroid Stealth Union is a fusion monster requiring Truckroid, Expressroid, Drilloid, and Stealthroid. 3600, 3000. When this card attacks, the original attack is halved until the end of the damage step. During battle between this attacking card and a defense monster position whose defense is lower than the attack, do piercing. Once per turn during the main phase, you can select one face-up monster on the field except the machine, equip it to this card. While equipped with this effect, this monster can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. This is not really a good card. It would be good if it had 3600, but then it loses it. So it basically comes at 1800 with piercing, gets to hit everyone. Not too useful. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Mixeroid is a 4-star 2200 defense. You contribute one machine, special summon one non-wind Roid monster from your deck. You can pay half your life points, banish any number of machines from your graveyard, including this card. Special summon from your deck one Roid fusion monster with the same level as those banished monsters, ignoring its summoning conditions but destroy it during the end phase. You could use one effect. You use each effect of Mixeroid once per turn. So if you're reading this correctly, this is pretty much Cyberstein without having to play life cost 0. So you pay half your life points instead. This would be pretty good had we not have had so many Paleozoic Canadias in the meta. Because you summon this card and then you can play Paleozoic Canadia and then it's over pretty much. It does have 2200 defense though, but cards like Paleozoic Canadia and Floodgate keep it in check and prevent it from being an OP card, because the Roids do have things like Parapsychroid that can attack directly, so it is kept in check. Megaroid City is a field spell. You can target one other card you control, destroy it. If you do, add a Roid from your deck to your hand. During damage calculation, if your Roid monster battles, you can send one Roid monster from your deck to graveyard, switch the original attack and defense of your battling monster during damage calculation only. You can use each effect of Megaroid City once per turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for fusions. During the turn you activate either of this card's effects. Card's synergy with the card we just saw. Mixeroid, which has 0 attack and 2200 defense, so you can switch those up. Other cards like Jetroid has 1800 defense as well. Not the most useful card, frankly. It just has synergy with the Mixeroid, I think. Barbaroid, the ultimate battle machine. It requires 5 machine Roids to fuse, 4000 attack and defense. It can make a second attack during each battle phase. It can't attack directly. After damage calculation, if this attacked an opponent's monster, negate the effects of that monster, even in the graveyard. Every time this destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. This isn't the worst card, I think. It's like Vision Hero Trinity. And you can use Viacroid Connection Zone to make it OP. The problem is you need those 5 cards in your hand or on the board. Maybe there's a way to draw. That's what prevents this card from being really good, I think. And finally, Emergeroid Call. Trap card. Counter trap. When a spell or trap or monster effect is activated while you control a Roid fusion monster, negate the activation. Send all cards with the same name as that card in the graveyard. You can banish this card from the graveyard, target one Roid monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can use this effect once per turn. Very good card. You have to have your fusion monster out on the board, of course. Since it's so good, it clears your opponent's deck and extra deck of that card. Pretty much ends the game for them once this is activated. So, pretty good card. So that is it for Warriors Unite. I think history will say that this is one of the better boxes. We will see. The Kaiba Cup will shape it out. I'm sure we will see plenty of Six Samurais. And that leads us to the survey of the week. Will Six Samurais take over the Kaiba Cup? 56% of respondents said yes, it is OP and broken. 17% said no, on the account of it being an expensive deck. Not truly expensive, but you do have to buy it 3 times for Kizin. And 27% said maybe. 2 comments this week. Zombear V. I mean, 6 Sams are obnoxious sometimes, but it feels like fighting silence again. We still have big beat sticks like Blue Eyes and Ancient Gears to get over them, so I think it will be okay. My experience against them is limited, but they certainly are strong. I agree with this completely. I have beat some 6 Sams just because I had Paleozoic Canadia, and my deck actually has a network trap hole, so that is an okay card against them as well. Tied to a Corpse says, to be honest, it's a coin flip meta. As long as you go first with Ancient Gears and 6 Sams, or second with Amazons or Kawaki, you win. Yep. I think this is why they're doing the special duels, where the the person going first gets to draw a card. So going first definitely has some disadvantages, but there are also other decks as well. I don't think it's really tied to those 4 decks, but in the Kaiba Cup second round, we will definitely see a lot of the same decks over and over. So we will see if it is, it's your own impression if it's a coin flip meta, but if you see it over and over again, and then it definitely is, I think. Now we have a couple of new cards to the game. Golden Dragon Summoner. This is from the Duel-a-thon that's going on. 4-star Spellcaster, 1000 attack and defense. You contribute 1 monster, target 1 monster on the field, return it to the hand. You can use this effect once per turn. So this has synergy with cards that have tribute effects like Psychic Ace. So you could kind of remove 2 cards at the same time. That's really it. Hieratics also have some abilities when you tribute them. Fusilier Dragon, the dual mode beast. This is an SR from Ranked Rewards. Level 7 machine, 2800 attack, 2000 defense. You can normal summon or set this card without tributing, but its original attack and defense become half. So it becomes a 7-star 1400, 1000, and this screams a card that helps ramp up synchro summons. It's a high level monster with low attack and defense. So you could kind of use that unknown Synchron or something, and then you make a level 8. Synchro Magnet, level 3 machine tuner. This is an R from the Ranked Rewards. 1000 attack, 600 defense, 3-star tuner. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. When you synchro summon a synchro monster, special summon this from your hand. So you want your tuners to be fast, but this comes out at the wrong time, which makes it pretty bad. You have to have your synchro summon played, and this is in your hand. So you kind of ramp your 5, you make a 5, like Armadides, and then you special summon this, you make your 3 into an 8. It just becomes unplayable, and you can't even normal summon or set it, so I don't really like this card at all. And finally, Lissark is the N. I have to get this card because I've got all the other N's, so I don't have a choice. A news item this week, the nice feature has been nerfed. And by nerfed, I mean it's just going to show up a lot less. Basically, you get a notification popping up at the end of your game that you got a nice. This happens. I've noted that I've done this too. I've been doing this. Is that it's been used as BM. You beat your opponent in 1 turn and then you send them a nice. But now you're not going to get that notification. You're only going to get that notification if both players sent a nice, which means the feelings were not hurt or it truly was a competitive, cool game. I like this. I definitely have closed the game, or I've stopped dueling after I've received a nice. So it reduces tilt to some degree, but you could be a guy or girl who doesn't really care about this, and it doesn't even matter at all. Now Doug Dimmadule is going to talk about his casual deck of the week. It's about tunes, so if you really enjoyed playing tunes, this is the deck for you. So here is Doug Dimmadule.
Hey, this is Doug Dimmadule with Doug's Casual Deck of the Week. So, yeah, I've been kind of teetering on semi-meta decks in recent weeks, and I know the whole premise of this is to be more of a casual-driven discussion topic, so I'm going to start going back to my roots, and I think we're going to try a deck out this week that is about the epitome of casual, and that is a Toon World deck. I mean, I've always loved the Toon Archetype, but there is just no way for this type of deck to stay competitive in the current meta. I feel like it's just been left in the dust, and until you could get more copies of Toon Rollback or Toon Table of Contents, which we only have one copy of right now, and especially a card like Toon Kingdom, if we'd be able to get more copies of that. Toons are just not that consistent, and there's just too many ways to defeat Toons. But I still wanted to give this deck a try nonetheless, and I gotta say that it has been unbelievably fun to play in a casual and PvE standpoint. It's one of my favorite decks to play. So the way that I have it set up is, of course, you want to use the It's a Toon World skill with Maximilian Pegasus. What that skill does is allow you to start the duel with Toon World already sitting on your field, so you don't have to worry about trying to draw into it or try and make your plays and then get your Toon monsters going. Now, you still want to have at least another copy of Toon World in your deck, and what is sufficient for that is Toon Kingdom, because it also doubles as having a Toon World on your field, so that's really all you'll need in this deck. But I want to start with the monsters, and the first monster that I run is Psychic Ace. This card was attainable through one of those free events that was going on. I don't even remember how far back it went, but this was a free drop, so you could run 3 copies of this. It's a level 2 Psychic, 1000 attack, 0 defense. If this card in the monster zone is tributed, you could target one card on the field and destroy it. So this is really good. I like to use this as my method to start clearing back row, because you got to realize that a lot of these Toon monsters that are being run in the deck, like Toon Dark Magician Girl and Toon Summon Skull, are going to heavily utilize some kind of monster, whatever is already sitting on the field, to tribute as a special summon fodder to get it onto the field. So the fact that it was tributed, whether or not it was for a tribute summon or a special summon, doesn't matter in this case. So Psychic Ace's effect will still activate with these Toon monsters, which is what makes this a must-have in a Toon deck right now. Then I run the 3 copies. I wish you could run 4 copies, but I only got 3 of Toon Mermaid. It's a level 4 Aqua Toon. It's got 1400 attack, 1500 defense. Now this can't be normal summon or set, and it cannot be special summoned unless you control a face-up Toon World. That's the way that all these Toon monsters are. Must first be special summoned from your hand by attributing the same number of monsters needed, which would be 0. This card cannot attack the turn that it's special summoned. You must pay 500 life points to declare an attack with this monster. If Toon World's destroyed, destroy this card. This card can attack your opponent directly unless they also control a Toon monster. Then you have to attack into that Toon monster. So Toon Mermaid, typically use that as tribute fodder, for one of these other Toons that are going to need a tribute. But other than that, I mean, it can hold its own just by leaving it on the field in defense position, and hopefully if you have a Toon Kingdom out there on the field, it can definitely buy you some time. Then also, as far as tribute fodder goes, I run my 3 copies of Relink Karibo. This is another card that you could get for free. And just as a side note, you could get Toon Mermaid as a drop from going up against Maximilian Pegasus at the Legendary Duelist Gate, so make sure you get your copies there. For Link Karibo, you've been able to get this through tickets and through different card flipper events or whatever. Or those pick-a-gift campaigns. So if you don't have your 3 copies of Relink Karibo, don't worry, there'll be plenty of opportunities to get Relink Karibo in the future. It's a level 1 Fiend, 300 attack, 200 defense. If this card is tributed, draw 1 card. If a monster you control would be destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. And that's really cool, because some of these Toons don't have the highest attack or defense, and if Relink Karibo is sitting in your graveyard, it adds some extra protection outside of what you would normally have with a card like Toon Kingdom. Now on to the last 2 monsters. The first one is Toon Summon Skull. I only run 2 copies of it here just because I'm trying to keep it to a 20-card deck. It's a level 6 Fiend Toon with 2500 attack, 1200 defense. It's going to require 1 monster to be special summoned by using a tribute for that. So same thing as the Toon Mermaid. it can't attack the turn that it's summoned, and you have to pay 500 life points to then attack, which would be able to attack directly. So it's a turn delay. And again, that's why this deck is not the most competitive, because you don't really have too many Toon monsters that can attack the first turn. But this last card is what makes this deck just outstanding, a lot better than it used to be, and that's Toon Dark Magician Girl. Through some of those tickets that we got during the year-long celebration, we were able to get a third copy of this card. If you've been like me and have gotten a Toon Dark Magician Girl, any opportunity we were able to get, I finally got my third copy. So it's a level 6 spellcaster toon with 2,000 attack, 1,700 defense, and it must first be special summoned from your hand by tributing one monster while you control Toon World. This card can attack directly, and the thing about Toon Dark Magician Girl that makes this so much better than the other toons is that there is no turn delay before you can attack. So the turn that Toon Dark Magician Girl is summoned, if it's not turn 1, if it's a turn where you're allowed to attack, then you could immediately attack directly during that battle phase. So basically the whole strategy is to get your Toon Dark Magician Girl out there as soon as possible and hopefully get a copy of Toon Rollback, which you can only get one copy of right now. I think it's a level up reward from Maximilian Pegasus, but that equates to 4,000 total attack, and if your opponent doesn't have life point boost alpha and they just have 4,000 life points, then you could just hit two direct attacks per game, and this is just a really effective strategy, and I really enjoy setting up this deck. So as far as spells go, like I mentioned, you do run your Toon Kingdom. You get the one copy of it from leveling up Maximilian Pegasus. When this card is activated, banish 3 cards from the top of your deck face down. This card's name becomes Toon World while in the field zone. Your opponent cannot target Toon monsters you control with card effects. If a Toon monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish 1 card from the top of your deck face down for each of those monsters instead. One of the most busted field cards in the game. However, they only limit it to 1 because that's all you're able to get from the level up reward. So until we can get more copies of this, I'm not very confident in the consistency of a competitive Toon deck. So if you're able to get this card on the field as soon as you can, then go for it. I've seen people try and build decks around Planet Pathfinder to search out your Toon Kingdom. There are other cards that allow you to search for field spells. You could try to go that route. But again, since this is more of a not so competitive deck build, and you already got a Toon World on the field using Maximilian Pegasus' effect, you just want to try and get your tribute monsters on the field as quickly as possible and swing for games. So to me, I find that no Planet Pathfinder is needed for this specific casual deck build. The next card, of course, is Toon Table of Contents. Add 1 Toon card and or 1 Manga Ryuran from your deck to your hand. So basically you're able to use this card to either search out your Toon Dark Magician Girl, your Toon Mermaid, your Toon Summoned Skull, your Toon Kingdom, or your Toon Rollback, which I try to find in a lot of cases. This is the last spell that I run in the deck. You target 1 Toon monster you control. It can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. So like I said, you combo that up with your Toon Dark Magician Girl. You can try and search it out with your Toon Table of Contents to get that Toon Rollback, but if you're able to get that Toon Dark Magician Girl on the field, have that card swing in twice for game, you're in good shape. So that adds up to 17 cards. So what did I do to round it out? I just added 3 copies of Dark World Dealings. Each player draws 1 card, then each player discards 1 card. Now I feel like there's really not a whole lot lost by doing this, because with cards like Relink Karibo, whether or not you're using it for tribute, having at least 1 copy of it in your graveyard is just a solid strategy, because it allows you to at least float or at least keep one of your monsters on the field if it's going to be destroyed by battle. So really, really good, and that's why I feel like running those copies of Dark World Dealings is not the worst thing in the world to have in this deck, and it kind of gets you moving through your deck pretty quick. If you're able to open your starting hand with a copy of this, you get a little bit more control as to your next turn and any combos that you may be trying to make. So, because a lot of times I'm trying to get a Psychic Ace and at least a Toon Dark Magician Girl or a Toon Summoned Skull in my hand for either the second or third turn of the duel. So overall, this is a really fun strategy. Like I said, it's not something that you want to take into the ladder, because there are just too many solid archetypes that would just totally demolish a Toon deck. But If you're like me and get real nostalgic and like this style of play, then this deck build is just a really fun one to play. So I recommend you give it a shot if you have the time. If you're just doing some casual duels, if you're taking control yourself, you can get a very high win percentage with this deck in PvE. I think this matches up well against a lot of the standard duelists and a lot of the legendary duelists that you could go up against at the gate. So yeah, if you get a chance and you have Maximilian Pegasus with that It's a Toon World skill, give Toons a try. It's a lot of fun, so I highly recommend it. If you like more of these, I'll be happy to do some more in the future. If you have any comments about this deck, definitely reach out to the Duel Assessment Podcast's Twitter account and let them know what you think. So anyway, I really appreciate you tuning in for this one, and hope to hear from you soon. Take care.
All right, thanks, Doug. And you can check him out at Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck Talk. That's his Twitter handle. And you can check him out every week on the show where he talks about a cool new deck. All right, so that is it. Upcoming news. Kaiba Cup first stage goes on till the 15th, so we've got over a week, actually. Oh, no, wait. Stage 2 begins on the 12th, so that begins next Friday. And then the whole thing ends on the 15th. So basically you have until the 11th, I guess, to do stage 1 if you want to do it in time. Epic Yami is coming soon, I think the 8th. So that's Monday, so it's a couple days from now. And Epic Yami, roaming duelist, probably has some cards. Archfiend Commander, the legendary Exodia Incarnate. Return of Jack Atlas in mid-April with a new skill. Probably an Archfiend skill if I had to guess. Mid-April Tour Guide Mission Bingo, free gems for 6 SAMs that I can never build. Special duels, first place draws. So April has a lot going on because I remember you could get like a separate King of Games. I got the separate King of Games with Ancient Gears back then. So first player draws. Duelist Chronicles GX Season 2, Sartorius, fighting Sartorius basically. And Dual Quest late April. Planned updates, inventory capacity increase, extra deck +1, I can't wait for that, and the auto deck update as well that no one really cares about. Alright, so programming reminder, next week I will be working at an event. Where I work, we do these conferences, so I basically have to be a staffer on the conference, and I have to work all day Friday and most of Saturday, I think, so the podcast might come out early Sunday or late Saturday. Depends how much energy I have on Saturday. We will see. And that actually affects me playing the Kaiba Cup as well, so I probably won't get anywhere in Stage 2 of the Kaiba Cup because of this event. So, yeah, sometimes life gets in the way, I guess, so that is what will happen to me, but hopefully you will have time to do well in the Kaiba Cup. Thanks for listening, everyone. You can find this podcast anywhere. Just search the Duel Assessment Podcast or the Duel Assessment. Check out the podcast and more on our website, theduelassessment.wordpress.com. Email me, theduelassessment@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Twitter, duel_assessment, Green Ranger CCG. Let me know what you think. If the questions of the week suck or the polls of the week suck, let me know. I'll try to think of something better. Yeah, that is it. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next time.